I'm sorry, Dawn. I used you, and I'm sorry.
So you did. You knew that he'd be laying a trap.
We can do this when you're safe.
No, we're gonna do this right now!
In this episode, everyone smiles to your face while twisting a knife behind your back. Because it turns out Gaal is using Dawn, and Dawn blackmails Tarisk. The Mule, on the other hand, is playing the entire Empire, while Day is also tricking his way out of Mycogen. Even Demerzel's moves leave more questions than answers. So here's why no one in this galaxy can trust anyone anymore. Heads up, there'll be spoilers in this video. Betrayal number 1. The defining betrayal of this episode is between Gaal and Dawn. From the moment Dawn stepped onto this mission, he thought he was the one in control. After all, he's a Cleon who's next in line for the throne, and about to do something consequential, which is to surround Kalgan, trap the Mule, and save the Empire. But what he didn't see is that this was never his plan. It was Gaal's, and every step he took was exactly where she wanted him. She plays it perfectly. She tells him they need Tarisk's vote by any means necessary, which is why she stands beside him, while he blackmails the man by threatening to expose him as a Mule collaborator. Because Tarisk represents the sector that includes Kalgan, and without his vote, the entire blockade plan falls apart. She lets him think this is a bold, necessary move for the Empire, which it is, but not for the reason she made him think. And Dawn, who's been desperate to prove he's more than just another Cleon, takes the bait. But what we find out later is that Gaal already knew the Mule wasn't going to be on Kalgan. And that fleet she helped Dawn send, she knew it would be destroyed. Because to Gaal, the real point wasn't to win this battle at all, but to lose it. Because losing meant the Empire would be stripped of the ships and weapons that made them dangerous in the first place. And in Seldon's vision of the future, the Empire has to shrink if the Foundation is ever going to rise, and that's the only way they'll ever stand a chance at defeating the Mule. And that's what makes this betrayal sting even more, because Dawn was the one pushing hardest for this mission. Now, with the plan in ruins and with millions dead, he doesn't just look defeated, he looks incompetent. In the eyes of his council and his people, he's the man who led them straight into a loss they couldn't afford. And with the fleet gone, the Empire is weaker. The Council turns on the Cleons, and the Seldon Plan tilts back toward the Foundation, being the galaxy's dominant power. But unfortunately, when Dawn finally realizes it, it's already too late. And the woman he thought was his ally admits she used him to get exactly what she wanted. Betrayal number 2. While Dawn is busy thinking this enclosure vote is his big win, the Mule is already 3 moves ahead. And as the Imperial Armada jumped in and surrounded the planet like they've cornered their enemy, the Council still thought they were still in control, until that laugh cut through the room. The Mule wasn't even there, but in a few sentences, he dismantled their entire strategy. He'd already abandoned Kalgan before their ships even jumped in, and he'd turned the Gold Gate into a trap with a cobalt spike. This is a weapon, powerful enough to vaporize a planet and take the entire Imperial fleet with it. That devastating burst, which incinerated everything in seconds, looks very similar to the Novacula, Brother Dusk's planet-killer black hole bomb. It's like the Empire got a twisted preview of their own secret weapon used against them. But what the Mule did here was psychological warfare, and he killed 2 birds with 1 stone. He didn't just destroy a planet, he also humiliated the people who came to save it. And as for Tarisk, he lost more than a battle. A piece of his world was gone, and with it, his family. He could have acted because he had the position and the chance, but he didn't. He allowed millions of people to die, and when the airlock finally claimed him later, some might have called it justice. Others, a fitting tragedy. Another thing this episode does is, the Mule's playbook is starting to come into focus. He knows he's outnumbered, so brute force alone won't win him the galaxy. Instead, every victory comes in 2 phases, crushing the enemy, then leaving the survivors so fractured and paranoid they start destroying each other, which benefits him. Which is why, right now, Dawn's name is tied to the disaster. The Council no longer sees the Empire as a protector, they see it as the reason they're in danger. So, with just 1 trap and 1 strike, the Empire is weaker than it's been in centuries. And this is a brilliant move that fits perfectly with the Mule's emerging playbook. Betrayal number 3. Everyone's busy fearing the Mule this episode, but the one they should really be afraid of is Demerzel. She was awfully quiet this episode, and that alone is cause for alarm. All season, she's been watching the Cleons fall apart. Dawn losing political ground, Day distracted by personal vendettas, and Dusk plotting his own endgame with the novella before his ascension. But the thing is, if she wanted to save them, she could step in. She could pull the strings, smooth the mess, and lock the dynasty back into place. But she doesn't. Instead, she lets the cracks spread. It's the kind of betrayal that doesn't feel like betrayal at first, because she's still smiling, serving, and showing up where she's needed. But if you've been paying attention, you realize every moment she chooses not to intervene, or every slip she lets slide, the Empire gets weaker. And the question is she doing this because she's tired, or because she's finally thinking about what a galaxy without the Cleons might look like? And maybe that's why she ends this episode face-to-face with Gaal on her own ship. I do think it's a friendly call. It's the kind of move that makes you wonder if Demerzel is building her own future, while everyone else is busy fighting the Mule. If that's the case, then the most dangerous betrayal of all isn't coming from the people fighting for power. It's coming from the one person who's had it all along. Betrayal number 4. Dusk has been in the game longer than any of the other Cleons this season. He's seen empires rise and fall, and he knows one thing: fear works better than loyalty. That's why his latest move isn't about diplomacy or strategy, it's about annihilation. He's secretly pushing a plan to wipe out an entire world with the Novacula, not because it's the smartest option, but because it's the fastest way to make everyone fall in line. We've not seen him at the facility which houses the Novacula in a while, but in this episode, he was there when Brother Day sent him a tight beam to apologize in advance for missing his ascension. And you can't negotiate with someone who believes you're willing to erase them from existence. The betrayal here isn't just aimed at the target planet. It's aimed at his own brothers. Because once you bring a planet killer into play, you're not protecting the dynasty, you're making it hostage to your own threat. If Dusk goes through with this, he's not just breaking faith with the people he rules over. He's showing the rest of the galaxy, and maybe Demerzel too, that the Cleons are ready to burn everything down before they give up power. And the scary part is once you cross that line, you can't walk it back. So, who can you trust now? After this episode, it's hard to name a single person in this galaxy who isn't lying to someone. Every alliance is a bluff, every promise has a hidden clause, and every friend is already calculating what they'll get when you fall. Right now, it looks like the Mule is quietly winning, but don't forget that Gaal is unto his plans. The Empire is also tearing itself apart from the inside, and the people we've been rooting for are making moves that could just as easily destroy each other as save anyone. And that's the real tension this season. It's not just about who has the most ships or the biggest weapons. It's about who can survive long enough to be standing when the truth finally comes out. And that is, if it ever does. If you have any thoughts on the betrayals of this episode, let me know in the comments. And if you like this, then check out our other Foundation videos right now. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.